All right, we are live. We are on 6 in the evening on a Friday. I was going to do it on Thursday, but I had to delay it. That's my fault. Sorry about that. Hopefully, we'll get some people in right now. So far, we have just another ANCAP.
Hello.
And been a while. Blast from the past. Everyone, Lord T. Hawkeye himself, Tim Dyson. You there, Tim? I might have stepped away a second.
Okay.
Just to let everyone know, I'm having internet issues. It keeps cutting out on me, so I've got the camera off in the hopes that the extra bandwidth will help it out. So I am sharing the screen from the chat, so this will be archived. Although, given what they were talking about last time, maybe that's not such a good idea, but we'll see.
It was the best chat last time.
Yeah, I don't think we have any patrons joining us yet, so I usually let them decide on the topics. I don't really have anything prepared, but we can talk about whatever you guys want to.
Well, I put it in the group chat over here, but may a friend that's in the same building as me join in?
Sure, yeah. I reserve the right to tell people who aren't supporters to leave if we get the full complement of 10, but that hasn't been an issue. So yeah, bring them on in.
Okay.
Yeah, there was stuff in the chat last time. It was like someone had come in. I don't know if he was joking or if he was actually trying to discredit me or something like that, but he kept saying like he had secrets about my past, and I was completely nonplussed. It's like, yeah, whatever you got, present it. I don't care. And then so everyone started making up conspiracy theories about me.
Okay, this is the now my friend is here.
Hello?
Hello. Okay.
Killian, is that you?
That is me. Who am I talking to?
This is my friend Luis. I introduced him to your videos a few weeks ago.
Okay.
So then he just wanted to join, and I don't know exactly why, but
because you're awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, he particularly enjoyed your Lord Killian videos, so
I have fun with those too.
Yeah.
Although I have to say,
anime.
I normally try and post them on Thursday. I delayed the one this week because, as the patrons know, I posted the version for them on Tuesday, the day before the Florida shooting. And it's a gun control video, and it was a gun control debate that was in front of the Florida House Judiciary Committee, I think. And for those two reasons, it was about gun control and it was in Florida. I'm like, you know what? I'm not a tasteless mofo like Steve Shives or Piers Morgan or people like that. I'm going to just delay it. It'll be posted on Tuesday, so maybe there'll be some air in between one or the other. But it's a complete coincidence that both of those things just happened like the day before. You know, I posted it the day before that happened.
All the craziness. There's been weird things. Yeah.
Yeah, I just really hate it when people just kind of jump on a tragedy to like push their agenda. I think it took Steve Shives like 4 nanoseconds to post a video called something like "Guns Are the Problem" or something like that. And Piers Morgan is jumping up saying, "Oh, well, this is white nationalists." It's like, shut up. Wait a few days. Let's get some more information. Then if it is white nationalists, by all means, go after them. You know, I don't care for white nationalists at all, but come on, let people grieve. Let's get some information in and see what's going on before we start.
My friend's dad yesterday blamed all Trump supporters for shootings.
Yeah, he is one of them.
Welcome, Darth.
Hey guys, what's up?
We're not really talking about anything so far. We're just kind of getting started. So,
Shane, with the direct Discord message I sent you relating to morality that the discussion got to. The reason why I wanted to discuss it with you is because what I the starting point I had when thinking about this was the stuff from your video, Libertarianism and Property Rights from First Principles, and then I continued and tried to look at take away anything that was arbitrarily limiting my analysis of it to the point where I got a general formula. So.
Okay, I'll have to take a look at that. I haven't been able to do a whole lot this week. It's been kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. Ooh. Lord Diaka, is everything working for you?
He was here and talking a bit before we started, and he must have had to step away or something. I don't know. Oh, he's asking if this is working. It's working on our end, Hawk. I don't hear anything coming from you. But he was speaking into the microphone earlier, and we were hearing him. So something's working.
Yeah. Oh, more people in the chat. Another question about Trudell Thomas last week.
I haven't seen any of those yet. He also wants to know, Simon Petrikov, how much do you know about human biology? Not really a whole heck of a lot, just kind of like high school textbook type of stuff.
Well, I do know that there's a Y chromosome and an X chromosome for a reason.
No, there isn't. No, they don't exist.
Yeah, apparently not.
What I think is funny is like the platypus is like X, 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 Y, 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 Y. It's kind of like a whole bunch of them together, and it's like, what? And it's crazy. Look it up. Look at the platypus is just crazy in so many ways. Not just looks, the genetics too. It's
really the platypuses are the strongest creatures. Want to know a great thing about the concept of social constructs? The concept of a social construct is a social construct.
That's true. That is true.
So if something being a social construct makes it illegitimate, then the concept of social constructs is illegitimate. I wonder where that would lead.
Oh, God.
But wait a minute. Wouldn't that make your point about the social construct of the social construct being illegitimate, itself illegitimate?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes, it would. So then...
How many people's mind have we just blown?
Mine.
Can you explain why we had so many guns protecting like politicians and celebrities and all different money and jewelry and stuff, but when it comes to kids in school, like, no, they don't deserve protection?
We protect them with a sign.
Yeah.
It says no guns allowed. That works.
The sign has immense power that no one realizes and everyone ignores.
Yes, it's so tragic that people ignore those signs. Why? Those signs have great potential. They could do great things for the world. I think that the next step, really, is that they should be they should get rid of all armed security and instead put signs. The sign should say that you are not allowed to bring any weapons in, and you must cut off your hands. You also must cut off every single part of your body that could possibly ever do any damage to anyone else. And you must also do that in every single location in the entire world, because at any location there's at least one person, yourself, and therefore we must ban those things too. And so therefore everyone must die. The end.
I want to put up a sign somewhere that says "Do not obey this sign."
One of them signs that says "Don't read the sign."
Yeah, that really connects to that particular thing connects to the paradox of the sentence that says this sentence is false. And how if you try to use proof by contradiction, no matter which way you go, it's going to be false. As if it's true that the statement's false, then it must be false. But if it's false that the statement's false, it must be true. The answer is that self-referential statements don't follow the law of the excluded middle, since what you're really saying is this statement is true, this statement is false. Therefore, this is internally contradictory, and therefore the statement in itself, this statement is false, is neither true nor false.
You know what other statement is true?
What?
Pizza is good unless it's bad.
Genius.
Yeah, there's a similar one where it says the next sentence is true, the previous sentence was false. And so they each contradict each other. But yeah, there's the possibility that they don't mention, which is that it's nonsense. Nonsense is neither true nor false, it's just nonsense.
Yeah.
Gotta get all third dimensional.
Yes. Okay, let's see. Thomas Sowell and Rothbard.
I like them both.
Wait, wasn't Rothbard the... Yes. Yes. And if they don't use bombs, they can use a dangerous corrosive acid, orange juice.
Actually, the dark colas that have phosphoric acid in it, that's a stronger acid than the citric acid in orange juice.
Weird, crazy things.
So I've learned stuff about orange juice and platypuses thus far.
It's strange.
Any day you learn something about the platypus is a good day. What was that?
What are the gun laws like in your state?
Well, the only gun laws our Constitution allows for is concealed carry restrictions. So we're an open carry state. I think it's generally pretty good on the concealed carry. I'm not sure if we're shall issue or may issue, but I haven't really heard of anyone having a problem getting a concealed carry permit.
I have a question. If someone has a concealed carry permit and they fail at concealing it, is that their fault or not?
Actually, the video I was telling you about that I delayed posting till Tuesday, that's what it's about. What happens when someone with a concealed carry permit accidentally displays it?
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. Guess I just have to wait till that then.
Yeah.
Or if you're a patron or a supporter on Maker Support, you've already seen it.
I have parents. I have no way of giving out money.
Yeah. And Daily Motion seems to not like you.
I hope it's working, crunching them down to 200 megabytes so I can put them in attachments. Although, I'm sorry, I got to throw a brickbat at Maker Support. 200 megabytes is 200 times 1024 times 1024, not 200 times 1000 times 1000. Because I had already, and it was up on Patreon, it was fine, and then I uploaded it to Maker Support. It can only be 200 megabytes. It is less than 200 megabytes, but yeah. I guess they're run by hard drive manufacturers, I guess.
I see.
And apparently someone thinks I sound like Bentley from Sly Cooper, whoever that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Let's find out.
When in doubt, look it up.
The amazing Google. It was Bentley, the British guy from the Jeffersons.
Oh, the Wi-Fi here is crap. I forgot.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, there was one episode of The Thick of It where this one politician woman was supporting this other politician named Liam Bentley, and the way she was standing and the way the news was, shooting her and taking her pictures, she was standing in front of the L in Liam, and the LEY in Bentley got cut off from the sign, and so it looked like she was standing right next to a sign saying "I am bent."
Have you seen Mr. Dapperton's video on the new channel direction?
Oh,
I have. Yeah, I've thrown a couple of ideas by him. I think we're gonna try to do like some kind of debate thing because he's really good at getting the guests in, and he's a lot of people like because he doesn't like live debates because he doesn't do well at them, but he'd like to put me up with some. So if we can combine his ability to get good guests in, and then I could come in and do the debate.
I would love to see you do that, Shane. That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
Yes,
maybe once every couple of weeks or something like that. I mean, there's.
Hmm.
Like I said, it's been a busy week, so I haven't had a whole lot of chance to do a whole lot. But
yeah. Well, what all is this?
Hey, Shane, did you hear that? I think Steve Gibson announced the other day that he's really close to releasing Squirrel.
yeah, we're just he just posted one of the releases of his Squirrel app, where he just went through, I think, almost all of the to-dos left, and he's working on the documentation. And another guy, Adam, has just started on the documentation in RFC format, and I made a couple of contributions to that so far. It's still very, very early, but I'll probably have a lot more to add there. Those of us who have been following this discussion the whole time and really know everything that's going on will be in a good position to get all of that ready. We got someone else who just started working on an Android client. So.
Are you an Android or a iPhone guy?
I'm an Android guy. We've had an iOS app pretty much all this time. There's a guy named Jeff Arthur who's been doing that, and he's really been keeping up to date on that. And it's really been good, because that's at least one person who's doing things differently than Steve is, and so him doing things and then trying to make them work with Steve's server, that's caused a lot of issues. So that's been a good way of doing this.
Shane, have you heard of Bad Mouse Productions?
He used to be so good, and then for some reason he went from being a libertarian to being some kind of socialist or communist or something. And the infuriating thing about it is he is making the exact same arguments that he used to debunk with no regard for his own debunkings.
Really?
What's up with that? How do you do that? How do you?
And also now he's a tanky.
He's a what?
Oh, he is defending the regimes of the Soviet Union, Cuba, all those things.
Oh, crying out loud!
Though not on YouTube.
We've gone from them being not real socialism to defending them.
Yep.
Okay, what was that I heard? Mao didn't kill those 100 million people. They died because of the weather.
Does anyone know how many millions of people died in the 20th century from government? Because I've heard different numbers, like 100 million, 200 million.
The one I'm thinking of, if you look up the term democide, DEMOCIDE, there's this research from, I think, the University of Hawaii, and the number there, and this is from governments as a whole, was 260 some million, 263 million, 265 million, something like that. Yeah. With 9 million murders in the same time period from just regular citizens outside of the government. And by the way, that 265 million doesn't count wars, and it doesn't count things like capital punishment. It's government actually murdering its own citizens.
Yeah.
And I mean, he breaks down all the numbers, and so I might have to grab that link.
Whenever someone says democide, I just keep thinking of that Alex Jones Piers Morgan interview.
Karl Marx.
Yeah, here it is. Hawaii.edu, murder by government. Pasted that in the chat.
Oh, did you hear that? Apparently, there's a bunch of new evidence that's been found in the whole Russia supporting Trump, whatever.
Oh, what is it this time?
Apparently there was a whole bunch of meetings.
Let's see. It was on. I saw it on MSN.
Okay, you didn't see. You briskly walked past it as I was.
No, it was watching. It was on here. Like it was.
Oh wait, here we go.
It's an article right here. I'll bring it up. And there's some.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
Funny how every time they investigate the Russia thing, they find more corruption by Democrats.
It's beautiful irony.
Oh God, people, will you stop auto playing videos? What is it with people? This is MSN doing it this time.
I never use MSN for anything.
Yeah, I just saw it on there, so I just put it up from there.
MSN, the ultimate virus hub.
I think I read somewhere that Microsoft doesn't have anything to do with MSN anymore.
Huh. Interesting.
Or is it MSNBC?
Wow.
One of them.
Hey
Tens
Shane,
of
are
millions.
you a programmer? What kind of programming languages do you know?
Let's see. Python, PHP, JavaScript, C, C++, although I haven't used either of those in many years.
Yeah, C++ is outdated.
Yeah.
I don't know. People are still using it for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I heard that it's good. It's compatible with Arduino. It's Arduino, not Arduino.
Is it?
I think it's compatible with anything. Basically, everything has C++ compilers.
That's true.
Yeah.
Jack says Python's tiny. I don't know if that's true.
Who knows?
Why are you?
You know, want to know something great? According to communists, communism will never be tried because it's never true communism.
That's it.
Yes.
Did you also know
it's like, you know, every time they try to implement true communism, it gets corrupted and turned into this weird thing. Well, you know, even if that's true, maybe that should tell you something.
Yeah, if your idea is so corruptible from the start, I mean, doesn't that say something about your idea?
Yes. Yeah. It should be reason to look back at your theory and find if you made any logical errors in your theory.
Such as people.
If your idea involves giving power to someone, then you have to live in fear of someone who doesn't agree with you getting that power. Because, you know, conservatives hated all the stuff that Barack Obama was doing, but that was all the stuff that they had given George W. Bush the power to do. Now, all the liberals are just completely wetting their pants over stuff that Trump is doing, which is pretty much the same kind of thing that Obama was doing, that they had given him the power to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Craziness.
I like the way Penn Jillette put it. The president should have so little power, it doesn't matter who he is, as opposed to having so much power, it doesn't matter who he is.
That's the thing I love about libertarianism and hate about socialism is libertarianism allows for socialism in like small groups if you want to get together and do that, but socialism doesn't allow for any small groups becoming libertarian.
Well, and it has to be done, you know, voluntarily, and there's no power structure, so there's nothing for them to, you know, grab a hold and take over and corrupt. You know, you can't.
Yep.
Power can't corrupt if there is no power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trump saw, you know, make America great again. Anyone else remember when the president was the least important branch?
No, everyone was not alive yet.
Well, I mean,
actually,
yeah,
if you go way back to the Articles of Confederation, there wasn't a president, as we understand the position. The president just kind of rode herd on Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they decided they wanted that executive power.
No joy.
Say the government is corrupt and everyone agrees. Say there should be no government and everyone freaks out.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing, isn't it?
I just recently saw on your Discord, Shane, I think it was on your Discord, I don't remember, but an argument from Murray Rothbard where he said, as long as you can see that there's no world there does not need to be a world government. Where do you logically stop in the allowance of separate states? Do you allow for Canada and the United States to be separate? Do you allow the South to secede from the United States? Do you allow New York to secede from the Union? Do you allow New York City to secede from New York? How about Manhattan? How about every block, every street, every house, every person?
Now, you see, you could make the argument that Manhattan is inside New York and therefore cannot. Like,
why?
I said you could. It wouldn't be good, but you could.
But that would be an arbitrary thing.
Well, take a look at other people. Remember Parker's argument?
Yes, but that doesn't mean it's actually an argument.
What about Tess's?
Just stop.
Fine.
I mean, the thing is, that's really, his point is like those are the only two consistent, even internally consistent positions. Either, each individual is sovereign, or there should be one sovereign entity over the world. Because if you say, okay, we should have the United States government and no bigger but no smaller either, how does that pass a basic consistency check?
Yeah. And then when you have a world government, who should be the leader? Well, should the leader be ruled by something? If so, then he's not the leader. And if they're not the leader, then we don't have this. Then we have no sovereign, no government at all. So then someone has to be leader. But if so, you're necessarily putting someone above the sovereignty of the world government.
That's very similar to the argument you made about God.
Sure.
Yeah, and who watches the Watchmen?
Yeah.
Our founders tried to do checks and balances, so you have the three different branches. They're supposed to be independent so they can keep an eye on each other, but now, of course, they're all cronies of each other.
Yeah. And even if they could all watch each other, it still wouldn't matter. For example, how about if let's say 3 genocidal maniacs were all watching each other to make sure that they didn't do anything wrong. All 3 of them were willing to allow genocide happen.
The Mexican standoff.
Weird, right?
Think back to France after the revolution, their attempts at building a government.
It's beautiful.
I actually have a friend who thinks Trump should be a monarch. Yep.
Monarchism.
Well, there were people who thought the same thing about Obama, and Hamilton said that about George Washington. He wanted George Washington to be the king.
Yeah. And before the Constitution was written, early on in the Revolutionary War, somebody sent a letter to the Prince of Prussia to become the King of America.
Why does that sound like something Hamilton would do? Why on earth, if you're going to make a musical about a founding father, why on earth would you pick Hamilton?
Because the name sounds almost cool.
Yay, he almost destroyed our country right after it was the Constitution. Ink wasn't even dry on the Constitution, and you had the Whiskey Rebellion, and ran up a huge debt. And
Yay, debt. Everybody loves debt.
Although I was reading something about from several historians that were just trashing the play and how just completely wrong the history was.
Huh.
Oh man, there are like literally 15 people in our school who worships Hamilton. It's the craziest thing.
Yes.
Because of the musical?
Yeah.
Yep. Just that.
Yeah.
How old is he did everything right politically.
How old is the concept of anarcho-capitalism?
Well, it kind of depends on what you mean by the concept of anarcho-capitalism. I mean, the concept of the non-aggression principle goes back at least to Buddha. His early version of the golden rule was, don't do unto others what you don't want done to yourself. As opposed to the later one, do unto others is you would have them do unto you. But that's practically the nap right there. And then you had Lao Tzu saying, kind of the same thing.
But what if you want someone else to initiate force upon you? Now ought you initiate force against people?
You can't want someone to initiate force against. If you want it, it's not force.
Whoa, true.
I see.
What do y'all think of Mr. Dapton wanting us to call ourselves vocaps now?
Nah.
No, I'm not going to do that. Just random.
I don't have a problem. I don't understand why so many people have a problem with voting, though.
The reason why some people have a problem with voting is because by voting, you are supporting one group, which is you're giving them the okay to use particular power to do things over people, even if they won't actually do those things, even if they'll make it so that the power is used less than the previous people, you're still giving them the okay to do it.
But how is that the case if you're voting for someone like Harry Brown or Adam Kokesh?
Well, would they be able to have that power even if they don't use it?
Well, you've got someone who's able to have it right now. But if they get in and have their way, then the president wouldn't have that power anymore.
Yeah. Yes.
And I mean, if you're going to just go in and declare that the war on drugs is over and disband the DEA, how is that a bad thing? How is that giving power to people? Or what if there's like a local referendum to raise taxes or increase the debt, buy bonds and go into debt or something like that? Are you really telling me it's forceful to go in and try and vote that down?
No, I was trying to describe the position that others hold with that.
Yeah, I mean, I know what they say. That's exactly what they say, but it doesn't survive any real analysis.
Yeah.
How much of a shot does Kokesh have at becoming the LP nominee?
I don't know. It kind of depends on who's up against him. I mean, it's just way too early to say.
Yeah, I'll pretty much only vote for the LP.
I mean, he's got a lot of support among libertarians. How much support does he have among the displaced conservatives that have been entering the party in the last 10 years or so? I don't know. All right, I'm hearing dead air. Anyone got another topic?
No, I have to do something else anyway.
I guess it's just you and you and me, Darth.
Jinx.
But Friday night is probably not the best thing to do this because I have a feeling people have like lives and
yeah. What's been like a more successful time in previous live streams?
It kind of varies. Usually I'll do it like either Tuesday or Thursday, either at 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. I've been trying to do one where I could do it like on a weekend, like early in the morning or something, because we have people from other countries where this would be like, 4 in the morning or something like that right now, and get it where they could come in and join us. But I think this is the first one I've tried on Friday, actually. So,
yeah. Do you have any idea who like actual YouTubers that you might go up against in a live debate?
I don't know. I mean, I've kind of been of the opinion that if I could just have half an hour with Sargon of Akkad, I think I could get him on our side.
Yeah.
Because I think he's kind of on the cusp. He just, there's like a lot of stuff that I think he hasn't completely thought through. And if he had someone to kind of bring him over, then. I mean, that's just a guess.
How would you
of course,
describe his politics? I mean, he seems like a Trump guy from what I've seen, but I don't really know the details.
I don't know if he categorizes that easy. There's a lot of stuff that he's very libertarian on. The way he deviates from libertarianism, I'm not even really sure. I wouldn't call him alt-right. I wouldn't put him in with people like Richard Spencer.
Yeah. I'm hearing some of my friends have a theory that Trump will not seek a second term.
There's always been all sorts of crazy things said about Trump.
Yeah. I can't imagine Mike Pence being president.
Oh, please, no.
So I know you don't play games nowadays, but back in the day, did you have like a certain console or something you play a lot and certain games?
Well, we have a Wii here. It's mostly, with the kids, doing that. But it was pretty much PC games, playing Doom and Quake and stuff like that. I did the whole Myst series. I love those.
I actually got into programming from a Star Wars game.
Oh, cool. I've been learning Blender because I learned how to do 3D stuff in college, and we were using 3D Studio. So I was still using this ancient version of 3D Studio because no way could I afford the update, but Blender is free. And so I've been working on that, and I've been upgrading a lot of skills as I go, because there's all this new, technology in there that, wasn't there, 15 years ago or whenever that version was. And they also have it in Blender where you can create it, like you can create your models and textures things specifically for use in games. So at some point I might take a look at how that works.
What's the most complicated thing you can achieve in Blender right now?
I don't see a whole lot you can't do. I mean, people are using this for like Hollywood movies and stuff like that, and they're doing like ultra photorealistic stuff. And
I mean, like for you personally, something that is more difficult to do for yourself.
For me personally, I haven't as of yet done a whole lot with figures and rigging, like where you have a skeleton and then you have it move and have the figure.
Yeah.
On that. 3D Studio, it had like a very early version of inverse kinematics. That didn't exist when I was in college, and it was just the hierarchical movement. So at some point I'll probably work on that and see how all that works.
I had a dream last night that Bitcoin plummeted to $300 a coin, and I ran into my dad's office like, "Hey, we got to buy some Bitcoin right now."
Wait a while longer. It might get down to that again.
Yeah.
What is it now?
10 grand, I think.
How did it fall below that?
It did. It ticked up a bit.
Oh, okay, yeah, it has ticked up. Yeah. Bitcoin Cash is 1,400. Litecoin's still around 220. Dash is around 700.
How many different cryptocurrencies do you actually have money in?
It's pretty much Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and Dash. I've got just kind of a little residual Bitcoin left because I had so much trouble trying to convert it. Did I convert it to Litecoin or Dash? I think I converted it to Litecoin or something like that. But anyway, there was just like this last little bit that just wouldn't do, and it got stuck, and now it's unspendable. So it's like $20 worth or something. So it's not that big a deal.
I wanted to ask you, you were talking about in a previous AMA that Dash doesn't have the same problem with fees as Bitcoin does. Could you elaborate on that?
I don't understand all the technical details, but it's got a completely different structure than Bitcoin. Yeah. And it's done so that transactions happen really quickly, like within seconds. You don't even have to wait 10 minutes like Bitcoin back when it was working properly.
Yeah.
And I mean, the transaction fees are like tenths of a penny. Litecoin, I think, uses the blockchain like Bitcoin does it. I think it was one of the first altcoins, but they've managed it pretty well. And I think the transaction costs are still like pennies, and it should go through in about 10 minutes.
Isn't Litecoin based more in like memory hashing than CPU hashing?
Yeah,
Bitcoin?
it uses scrypt, I believe, instead of SHA-256. SHA-256 has it's like, okay, you're going to do all this processing, you're doing all this math, but that's how you can have, these ASICs, that is an application-specific integrated circuit that's made just to do all these calculations. Well, what you do with scrypt, and I mean, think about those ASICs is they can also be used for like password cracking and stuff like that if the password is protected with SHA-256. But scrypt is memory hard as well as processor hard. It requires a certain amount of memory to use, and that'll foil those ASICs because they won't have access to that.
I saw something on Security Now where they found a website where if you share the same password with someone else, they'll hook you up for a date.
What?
Yeah, it's insane.
I've seen all the Security Nows and I didn't see it there, so it must not have been.
Maybe it wasn't Security Now. I'm not sure, but hopefully they're still hashing the password and comparing the hashes and the actual password.
Well, I mean, if you've got a strong enough password, then the end of the universe won't be enough time.
No dates for you.
Yeah. But if your password is password, it might take a bit less time.
Yeah.
But I changed the A to an @ sign. They'll never figure that out.
Yeah, when I took over my local Libertarian Party group's Twitter page, it was had a really weak password, and it was like embarrassingly weak. I'm like,
wow. Okay,
this has got to change right now.
Yeah. Angry Froman, I don't know how he's pronouncing that in the chat, talking about Sargon. He created liberals, this own movement. He understands principles, but he hasn't worked through them as far as he thinks he has. That's my impression as well. He's got the idea of it, but he's making a lot of assumptions that he hasn't gone back to first principles and worked through to see if they still make sense.
Do you have any obscure YouTubers that you really enjoy that aren't really well known?
Obscure ones. Well, I mean, the ones that I've mentioned. Let me see. Which ones haven't I mentioned? I might have to go looking through my subscription list to see if there's anyone like that. I mean, there's a lot of specialty stuff like you mentioned Security Now. I'm also subscribed to Security Weekly, but that's a bit more high octane than Security Now. Steve tries to kind of make it accessible to everyone, and these guys are buying for nerds. And then there's people like Esoteric and all those. Brian Lunduke I've mentioned. Although I don't know how obscure he is. He's definitely not obscure among Linux people. So.
Yeah. Have you ever gone to like a DEF CON?
I have not.
I would love to go to that.
I might be a little scared to go there. I think I would leave every single electronic device I own would be at home, exactly. Nowhere near there.
Yeah. The number one status argument I keep hearing over and over again for anti-privatization is, what if the poor can't afford it?
What if the poor can't afford what?
Well, I mean, healthcare, private security, private firefighting services, stuff like that.
Well, if you show me somewhere that the poor can't afford private security, let me know, and I'll start a security firm there that's cheaper.
Right.
That caters to them. I mean, that's competition, baby.
It's like,
well, when you if you can get a $20 cell phone, a smartphone, you know, running Android and everything, and run apps on it, you know, and you're talking about like the latest in high technology, and you can get something like that for $20, then I don't know what people are thinking that the market won't be able to do if there's competition.
I see the government as like trying to nail in a nail with a gravity hammer. It's just complete overkill to fix a problem, and you're making it worse by using government than if it just was privatized. That's just the way I feel about it.
Yeah, it's like using a chainsaw to open a can of beans.
Yeah. You read any good fictional books?
Oh, let's see. What was it I had read? Well, what I most recently did was I reread Arthur C. Clarke's for Odyssey books.
Yeah.
What was the last new one I read? I'd have to I'd have to go get my tablet and look on that to see what all the new ones I got are.
Steve Gibson recommends all kinds of sci-fi, and they're all like 30,000 pages long.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I mean, even just Isaac Asimov, I think if I started as soon as I was able to read and started reading Asimov, I wouldn't have had time to read them all in my lifetime. It's like, how did he find time to write them?
Yeah.
Guy was a machine. Simon Petrikov says, you know, a poor traditional family get a friend to defend the property, or the church can provide security. I don't know how I feel about a church providing security, but point well taken.
Mr. Dapton always points out that if you go to a mall and there's private security, that they're not going to come up to you and ask you for money just to protect you. That the mall is paying for that security.
Right. Yeah, and you get the benefit of that.
Yeah.
And they're paid. They're not just paid to protect like the stores. They're there to protect the shoppers, because the people who run the stores, they want customers to feel safe enough to come there and shop. You know, and if there's like a reputation for it being dangerous, people aren't going to go shop there, and they won't get money. I think that's something that would be able to work in a lot more contexts if you had it where if you hired your own private security, then you could have the fees to the police deducted from your taxes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work that way. You got to pay for the police no matter what.
Well, there wouldn't be taxes in Ancapistan anyway. So.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm talking about the way it is now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get private security, you know, it's pretty much a monopoly. And what was it one commenter was saying? One of the was saying, yes, I've read H.P. Lovecraft. That's good stuff. But it was something like, you know, how could the free market, you know, do police services anywhere near as efficiently as government? I'm like, you mean efficiently as in showing up, you know, 15 minutes after the perp is long gone and
then shooting your dog.
Yeah. He took away those last couple of messages. Sorry, Simon, they're already immortalized on the video.
Too late.
It's already on the internet. It's never going away.
Yeah, it's just strange. Like, I think with Hong Kong is really economically free right now. But if you interview the citizens, they don't really understand why. They still want some government involvement in their lives.
Oh, here it is. It's Vitamin W. How do you prevent theft and violence in a truly free market? Saying NAP or property rights and the right to defend oneself are words, not laws of physics. I'm like, what's so impossible about people defending themselves? And how is that less effective than cops who only show up several minutes, if not several hours, after the criminal has gotten away?
Yeah. It's so insane. Like a school shooting happens and their only response is try to get rid of the guns.
Yeah.
But I mean, we protect so many things with guns, but for some reason when it comes to kids in school, that's different. And
yeah, and it's like there's a school shooting, so we need to get rid of guns, but governments are responsible for so much death and misery, but the solution is not to get rid of government for some reason.
And when you're in trouble and you call the police, you're expecting men with guns to come solve the situation.
I mean, that's the thing. They're not against guns.
No.
They just want their government to have guns and the criminals, I guess, because they're not stopping that.
No. It's like, have you ever heard of the black market? Do you really think the bad guys are not going to be able to get guns?
I've heard people, make that claim. It's like, oh, guns are too hard to make. The black market would never be able to do that. And it's like, no.
Have you heard of Cody Wilson and the Wiki Weapon Project?
I mean, even without that, the forum.bogonsity.tv, there's a sticky thread, the black market for firearms, about people making firearms. I mean, like high quality, fully automatic assault rifles in like these little mud huts in the Philippines.
Yeah.
I mean, you just need basic machinist tools. So you have that, a meth lab is much more, sophisticated and difficult to do than making guns with machinist tools.
Are you familiar with Remy from Reason TV?
Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah, one of my favorites of his was How to React to Tragedy, where he was talking about how if it was an explosive, if it was a truck, if it was a knife, come together and pray and offer condolences. But if it's a gun, second it happens, you get online, start typing away on Facebook saying, "You idiots, what's wrong with you having firearms? I don't like it." So,
someone posted onto the Discord. It was something like Trump had tweeted, prayers are with the family, the country should come together, blah blah blah. And this one woman laid off on it, was like, no, we need gun control because prayer doesn't work. It's like, okay, praying to God doesn't work, but praying to government.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually really fascinated with computer security. I think pen testing might be my future career.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Download Kali Linux and start having fun.
I have, yeah. I've done a few things with that.
It is actually scary how easy it is to get utilities like that if you know where to look.
Right.
Because there's no difference between that and the utilities that the hackers use, because that's the whole idea. You're going to try to break into your own network using the tools that the hackers use so you can figure out how well protected you are from them.
Exactly.
I'm still catching up with the chat here. Someone made an AK-47 in the US from a shovel. I think I want to see a video on that before.
Yeah.
I guess by this point, I don't really expect anyone else to show up. I mean, we can keep talking as long as you want, or get done whenever you're done, Darth.
I enjoy this a lot. It's one-on-one with Shane Killian. It's amazing.
That's cool. You're getting, it's like personal attention here. As opposed to our normal 7 or 8 people, can't get a word in edgewise.
Yeah. I really want to get like one of those echo triggers.
What?
Those are cool. You never heard of the echo trigger?
Nope. New one on me.
It's a trigger that fires the AR when you pull the trigger and then fires again when you release it.
Okay.
It's pretty sweet. Of course, you've heard the bump stock, which is making a semi-auto full auto.
Well, no, but it's
simulated.
It's doing the firing the semi-auto at its maximum rate.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could wiggle your finger back and forth that fast, then I mean you would still be able to do it without anything else. A shovel plus blanks and kit parts, but the receiver is a shovel.
If we're gonna say, if you're a man, you can't talk about abortion, I think we should have a rule: if you don't have a gun, you can't talk about gun control.
There you go. Yeah, I mean it's like crazy stuff because oh god, who was it? Was it Diane? I think it was Diane Feinstein, someone like that, and she was holding up, the AR-15, and I don't even think it was an AR-15. I think it was a different MSR, but and she was like, as an example of it, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't loaded, but I mean, she was holding it up like in demonstration, and her finger was on the trigger.
Yeah, I saw that picture. That was
What do you think about covenant communities? I don't know anything about them. As long as they're voluntary, I got no problem with them. Like gated communities, but bigger. I don't know. Some of those gated communities, they're basically a bit like governments, except they actually use the local government to enforce their stuff. But they do crazy stuff like if your grass isn't green, then they come after you, even if it's like January. It's like, grass isn't supposed to be green in January, you idiots.
Sure, you heard about Rand Paul getting attacked, and supposedly it was over some offense with his lawn or something. And like, no, I'm pretty sure it was political.
I don't know, but it was like he was mowing his lawn. I think he was riding his tractor mowing his lawn, and then his neighbor came over and beat him up or something. I don't know. Captain Pipsqueak says, "Hey Shane, do you mind if I join even if I'm late?" Sure, come on in. Darth won't have his one-on-one anymore, but
well, it was good while it lasted. Yeah, I think it'd be cool to be part of a Bɪᴛᴄᴏɪ podcast. I'm just not sure if I could talk about one subject for that long.
Well, we usually do like anywhere between 3 and 7 minutes on a subject.
Yeah.
And the way I do it is I just have notes for all of the things I want to say, and then just let the co-host chime in. But
yeah,
I always got plenty of stuff to talk about. Usually, like if I were to just read out my part, like I do when I do the solo podcast, by the way, it usually ends up being like 20 minutes. And then with the co-host, it's usually like 35.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends, of course, on what we're talking about, how much there is to say and all that. But well, Captain, are you going to make it in? There he is. Wait. Hey, Pip. Hello, Pip. Are you there, Pip?
Hey.
Hey, there you are. So how's it been?
Oh, it's been all right.
So a shovel into an AK-47, huh?
Yeah, someone went to a garage store and bought it wasn't on sale, but he negotiated with the owner to buy a shovel that he had dug up out of his backyard. It was all this horribly rusted thing. He cleaned all of the rust off of it and beat it and cut it into shape to make a AK-47 receiver.
Huh.
And use the handle of the shovel as the stock. and according to the post, actually went on and outshot someone in a competition.
Wow.
Yeah, you wrote like what you're looking at the face of somebody who's been outshot by a $2 shovel. Priceless.
Build an AK-47 from a shovel with picks. Okay, I'll put that link in.
Do you have any good resources on copyright law and the libertarian response to those arguments?
I don't know if there is a good source for that. I mean, there's libertarian sources that kind of cover it, but not like a book you can get about it. I don't know. Check Mises.org. There might be something like that there. Wow, the butt of it is actually the handle part of the shovel. Wow.
I don't know how practical it is, but someone did some machining in a tool shop and created a 12 gauge fully automatic handgun.
And apparently, according to this link, it is completely legal to build your own firearm without a serial number, provided you don't sell it.
Yeah, that's what Cody Wilson was saying about his ghost gun.
Now, what was the ghost gun?
Huh?
What was the ghost gun?
The ghost gun, basically it's a lower that you mill out yourself with a special machining tool that he sells on his website.
I'm having trouble picturing that.
Yeah, there's some videos on YouTube.
I think it's like an incomplete lower, which doesn't actually count as a firearm. It's just a piece of steel.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it comes with it's all properly shaped, and it comes with instructions of here's what you need to mill out in order to make it into a functional lower. And then you can attach all of the other parts to it, and it'll work.
Yeah, and if you 3D print a lower receiver and attach it to the upper receiver of an AR-15, you can use that. You can use that for personal use. You just can't sell it, which I find interesting because it would seem that guns are less regulated than drugs in that respect. You can't grow your own drugs.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't see people.
But even with the you know, like places like California and the biggest, you know, gun control laws in the country, how many people are actually using homemade guns to commit a crime as opposed to just getting them off the black market or somewhere?
Right, right.
Well, and I mean, lots of people have done things about like all of the creative ways in prison they have of doing a makeshift gun to kill someone with.
Didn't the Mythbusters do something like that? Like prison weapons?
I know they did shivs, you know, like stabbing weapons. I don't know if they did guns or not.
I believe I heard.
Oh, they did a bow and arrow. They made like bows and arrows out of newspapers.
Right. I believe someone made a gun out of some vacuum cleaner parts.
Oh, it sounds like the kind of thing they would do.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can't keep drugs out of prison, that's really...
Although I can't remember them doing that with guns, and it occurs to me that, you know, if they were doing these things like, you know, the homemade guns, the way they did the homemade crossbows, you know, you probably have a lot of people hitting the ceiling over that.
Yeah.
Guns are different somehow, even though they're not. I mean, none of this is new. I mean, before guns, you still had people doing it, you know, with swords. You know, the knights were basically bullish thugs, not at all like they are in the movies, you know, the honorable, chivalrous, etc. And the
I'm sure you've
the
heard the
ninja,
argument that. Sorry.
yeah, the ninja, the way they started was because the samurai only wanted to be the only ones with weapons, and so they made it illegal for anyone else to get a weapon. So the reason why so many ninja weapons look so weird and crazy is because they were taking garden tools and fashioning them into weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of that's ever worked. Never has, never will. Okay, anything else you guys want to talk about, or are we winding down for the night?
Maybe have to. There is one thing I want to tell you after the live stream, though.
Okay. It's a shame Hawkeye couldn't get it working. He hadn't been on in a while, so that would have been cool to have his input. All right, well,
Yeah, I'm out of ideas.
Yeah, if there's nothing else, I guess we'll call it a night and see all the supporters for next month's live stream, whenever that will be. So thanks everyone who joined, and thanks everyone who's watched.